Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Sportsminute. I am Ace, and I am joined tonight by none other than the great J Mac. J Mac, how are you doing tonight, my man?
Just excited to talk about these topics and just watching some great sports. And I'm really excited for the officials timeout tonight. I think that's going to be great.
Yep. So as you can see here, our topics for the night, we're going to talk a little bit about NFL free agency. Then we're going to bust out our a little topic that we've kind of been talking about for quite some time that we've wanted to do. It's called officials timeout. So we're going to bust that out for the first time tonight. Then we're going to do our patented Wheel of Doom that deals with baseball. We're going to bust that out. We're going to do that. Then we'll talk about some World Baseball Classic, and then we'll do an updated medal count for the Olympics. But before we start out with that, as you see rolling across the bottom of the screen, we have breaking news that Bam Adebayo tonight scores 83 points against the Washington Wizards to pass Kobe Bryant for the second most points in an NBA game in history. And J Mac, I know one comment that you were stating was that you said you were actually surprised for how long it took due to how much scoring is in today's NBA.
Yeah, I mean, just I'm really surprised at that because you got these guys. Just two off the top of my head. I mean, you got guys like Kevin Durant and James Harden that could go out and drop 50 any night, and so I'm really surprised that it's taken this long to get to 83 points.
Now, am I surprised that it's Bam Adebayo? Yeah, you wouldn't expect a guy like Bam Adebayo to go out and put up 83. Maybe you mentioned Kevin Durant, you mentioned James Harden, but you also have a Steph Curry that is a patented 3-point shooter, and so you're looking at that going, Steph Curry, you feel like would be a guy to drop 83. um, for anybody who was kind of curious about Bam Adebayo's numbers tonight, he took 43 shots and he went 20 of 43, and he went 7 of 22 from the 3-point line.
So
So
what that tells me, you break those numbers down. That's what 13 2-pointers. That's 26 points, and then 7 3-pointers is 21. So, um, what 47 of his 83 were for field goals. That means he made like 30 something free throws in the game. Which come on, that's just nuts. That's why there's so much scoring in the league is because everything's a foul, and you go to the foul line now.
yeah, I feel you there. I do. We can definitely get that in another discussion another time because we could really dive deep into that and talk about that for a while. But I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware that Bam Adebayo scored 83 points, and that's why we have it at the bottom. Congrats to Bam Adebayo, man. What a freaking game for Bam Adebayo.
Yep,
So,
his career high before this game was 41. By the way,
well, he just doubled his
uh,
his
uh,
career high. Who would have thought that you would have gone from your career high of 41 to 80 to 83? You double your career high. That is freaking
crazy.
crazy.
It's crazy.
All right, jumping into NFL free agency. So I think the craziness part about the NFL free agency was that the Baltimore Ravens have now backed out of their trade with the Raiders for Max Crosby. So Max Crosby is now back on the market again, to where it's like, okay, now the Raiders can try and work a trade with somebody else. Now, the concerning thing is, like, if you're the Raiders, just saying they went nuts in day one of free agency. Like, they went nuts. They were just passing out contracts left and right. And really they were doing that because it's like, okay, we just got Crosby off the book, so we don't have to worry about paying him all this money, and now you get him back. And it's like, okay, now hopefully, and I know there's going to be some team out there, I guarantee there's going to be a team that's going to reach out to the Raiders, and they're going to want to do that deal regardless of Crosby's medical concerns at this point in time. Somebody's going to want to do it. Is it going to be for two number ones? Probably not. I think at
Oh,
this
not
point
anymore.
in time, yeah, I think at this point in time, the Raiders are going to have to lax on the two number ones because I think because of the medical concerns, I don't think that they're going to get that. So, J Mac, what is your thoughts on this craziness with Crosby?
Well, diving in deeper into that, the craziness is the teams that were linked to him in the first place was Baltimore, Chicago, and Dallas. Well, Baltimore's out now. And here's the problem in Chicago and Dallas. They're now tapped out because they also passed out contracts like they were bologna sandwiches in free agency. So they also don't have the room to trade for him either. So I don't think he ends up in Dallas and Chicago, who were the teams that were originally looking at him. I don't really know where he ends up at this point. It's probably going to be to, I mean, he wants to go to a team that's a winner and has a chance to win a championship. But name one of those teams that has the salary cap to take on Max Crosby now.
Yeah, the problem is the top 5 teams, as far as salary cap wise, right now, they're teams that were in the lower half of the NFL. So
Right.
you still have the Raiders that are kind of there. You have the Jets. You have the Commanders, which you're looking at the Commanders and you're like, okay, can the Commanders bounce back from that down year that they had last year? You're like, potentially they could. So it could be a possibility that maybe they could bounce back. But could a guy like Crosby help on the defensive side? Yeah, he could, but is Crosby going to want to go to a team like Washington? You also have Tennessee.
Yeah.
Tennessee is a very, very young team. They got a young quarterback. I know Tennessee's been trying to rebuild their defense. They have a lot of cap space. Would Tennessee want to give up, 2 first-round picks? I doubt it. So over the next couple days, it's going to be very, very curious to see what teams now come into the fold because Dallas has already said they're out. Like Dallas came out and said,
Right.
nope, they have now closed the books on the Crosby trade and they don't want to do that now.
Yeah. No. Well, I mean, they got Gary. They don't need Crosby now. I guess unless they're thinking anyway. But it's interesting. I think the Commanders might be the biggest question mark of all of that. Do they because they have the head coach to do it, right? So that might be where he ends up is in Washington. But and you're right on the 2 first because you're talking about a team in Baltimore that had the 19th pick in the draft or the 20th pick in the draft, and now you're potentially talking about teams that are a top 5 pick, and are they going to give up a top 5 pick and a next year's potential top 10 pick for Crosby when Baltimore's going to be in it every year right to the end? So even though it's still first round picks, they were giving out mid first round picks and late teen first round picks for that player, and I think that takes a whole new dynamic on. You're not going to get 2 top end first round picks now for Crosby.
Yeah, and let's not forget though too. Not only is Crosby available, but don't forget who's still floating around out there. Hendrickson is still floating around out there too. So there are still teams that are. The problem is with Hendrickson. I don't know if you kind of saw the numbers on this or saw what the reports were, but the reports were out there saying, Hendrickson was looking anywhere between 30 and 40 million a season. Now with that, Hendrickson has found out that nobody has offered him that yet. So he's actually been surprised that the market isn't as good as he thought it was going to be.
Was the guy's last name Hendrickson that broke the sack record last year? Oh no, that's right. It was Myles Garrett. No one's paying Hendrickson $30 million a year. Like, if Myles Garrett went on the free agency, they give him $50 million. It wouldn't matter. Like, for the season he had, he earned every dollar of that. But I mean, Hendrickson's good. He's in the top end for sure. He might be a top 10 defensive end, but he's not getting 30 million a year.
No, and I think that that's where he's actually surprised that he has not gotten that, and that so I think that that's why he has passed up on some of the offers that have been thrown to him because they haven't been what he's wanted. Now, going in another direction too, you had mentioned about Rashawn Gary. You had mentioned how Dallas had traded for Rashawn Gary, and us as Packer fans, I will tell you, I was completely okay with Gary going, Mister. I'm going to get 7.5 sacks in the first 8 games, and then I'm going to do nothing over the final 9 weeks of the season and just disappear and not even get a tackle, a sack, nothing. And then, you have Dallas fans that are going out there acting like Gary's the next biggest thing. I'm like, okay, you can think that until you get to the season and watch him do the Houdini trick of just disappearing and being nowhere to be found.
You know what? Good for Gary. Sometimes a change of scenery will change your career. And yeah, I mean, he played Houdini this year in Green Bay, and that's rough. But I wish him all the best in Dallas. I hope he rejuvenates his career. I wish the same thing for Kenny Clark last year, and we saw how that played out. So, all the luck in the world to him. I hope he plays good, except when he plays against Green Bay. And he can at least go to a team that, at least as far as the fans are concerned, are going to win the Super Bowl every year. So
there you go. Now another funny trade that I need to throw out there, and I was like, I have to hit on this one because it's just kind of funny how sometimes how the carousel works. As we saw today, you had the Las Vegas Raiders trade Geno Smith to the New York Jets for a 6th-round pick, and the Jets are now like, hey, we have our quarterback. I'm like, have you not learned your lesson yet?
Yeah. The funny thing about all of that is, to me, more ironic than that's the fact that that's the team that drafted him. That's where he started his career. Everyone wrote him off, and he ain't right back. Like, besides all that stuff, right? He joins a team in which it was one of the only games in the time he played them last year that he didn't throw an interception because the Jets had 0 interceptions on defense last year. Mm-hmm. How do you go 17 games without catching a pass on defense?
That to me was one of the most bizarre stats that I had ever seen when I read that. I was like, how do you go a full season, not one interception on the whole season? Just
Aaron Glenn, your head coach. Aaron Glenn,
the defensive guy,
who was a defensive specialist in making interceptions in his career, and his team went 17 games without getting one. But hey, good on the Jets. Guess what they have? They'll go down in history because no team can ever break that record. That record can never be broken. It can be tied, but it can't be broken.
Unless they add an extra game.
I mean, then it'll only be games. It won't be a full. It would be a season again. But yes, unless they add another game. But there was no team that went 16 games without an interception ever.
No, but that's why when the Jets made that trade, I kind of laughed because I'm like, dang man, Geno Smith being a quarterback, he should probably be a Baker because. Man, that dude makes so many turnovers in his life that he should be a Baker instead of a quarterback.
For sure.
Now some other things on the NFL free agency front that we have seen. We saw Kenneth Walker the third actually go sign with the Chiefs. I want to know what exactly Seattle's doing. Like, Seattle just won the Super Bowl and they're letting all these high price free agents walk. I don't understand.
Well, they're selling the team too.
Yeah,
And
I saw that. Yeah.
I think that one, to me, though, that's kind of a brilliant move. Like, do you want to buy the franchise that just won the Super Bowl? I mean, it's never going to be at a higher price than it is now. So that the Allen family is going to make a ton of money on that deal. But yeah, they obviously don't have any plans for the future of a repeat because they're letting everyone walk. Kind of crazy that you let the Super Bowl MVP walk out to the door to a team that doesn't need another Super Bowl MVP on their team.
Yeah, I never in my mind would have even thought that. I'm like, oh yeah, they're gonna let him walk, and I was like, that is just one of the most bizarre things that you can think about. You let him go to the Chiefs. Now, another big trade that has happened during free agency is DJ Moore getting sent to Buffalo. That was another big time trade.
Sure it was. The funny thing is this all, and I know everyone's going to say, well, you're Green Bay homer, so of course you hate the Bears. Look, the Bears had a good season. I'm not going to take anything away from their season. But I will tell you, against the Rams, I'm sitting there at Red Robin watching the game against the Rams, and I turn to Jennifer and I say, their luck is going to run out eventually. Well, their luck ran out. They lost in overtime. And then their luck really ran out after the season when they had their all-world center just up and retire. Like, he's just like, I'm out. And I believe their right tackle signed with someone else. And then they trade away the receiver that won 3 games. I believe he had a game-winning touchdown in last year. I think the Bears are up for a step back this year. It's just they're losing too much. Edmonds isn't coming back. I believe he signed in. Where did I see he signed? I believe he signed. It might have been in Washington. So they're just losing too many pieces to have the same season as last year. Doesn't mean they're not going to be competitive. I just don't see them having the same season as last year with all the pieces they lost.
Yeah, and we have even said, like, so Dad is a Bears fan too, and you know that. And one of the biggest things is like when they traded Moore, he's like, why? Like, why? But to answer your question about Edmonds actually signed a 3-year deal with the Giants.
That's what it was. I knew it was in the NFC East somewhere.
Yeah, it was the Giants. So free agency so far, it's always, the first couple days in free agency is usually always pretty hectic. And then towards the end of the week it starts slowing down just a little bit. But I think right now people are still waiting for the 2 big names now to fall, Hendrickson and also now Crosby, to see where Crosby's going to go. You still have a few big names out there. Big names. That's why I'm saying names, because Tyreek Hill is still out there. But is Tyreek Hill turning into now on the downhill decline, kind of like when OBJ first came out and OBJ was like a big thing, and then free agency hit, and then everybody wanted OBJ. And now, like, I feel like with the injury that Tyreek Hill had last year, he's going to be on the downhill now.
Sure, but it's much like when Terrell Owens did all the moving around at the end of his career, right? Before he ended up in Cincinnati. He can still, I mean, Tyreek Hill can still help a team. Speaking of T.O., I mean, he went up to Buffalo. No one even heard about the signing, really. And the year he was in Buffalo, all he did is went up there and had 65 catches, 800 yards, and 6 touchdowns. That's adding to a team that needed help, right? So Tyreek Hill can go to a team that needs some receiving help, and even if he gets 60 catches and 800 yards next year, he still helped that team to get those. So he can still be a very valuable. He's not going to be what he was, but he still can be very valuable to a team that needs receiving help.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to definitely be that number one that Tyreek Hill used to be. I don't think he'll be that guy, but he's definitely going to be that veteran presence that can come in and kind of help you out and kind of mentor the younger receivers as they come in. Another receiver that was brought off the board today. We know who he is. I've been a fan of him for, well, of course, maybe the little bit of the bias part is there, but Romeo Doubs signing a 4-year contract with the New England Patriots.
I mean, good for Dobbs. I think what did he get, $30 million in 4 years?
So his contract was actually, and this is why I was telling for any Green Bay fans that were like, we need to bring Dobbs back. Okay, Dobbs just signed a 4-year deal worth $80 million.
Okay, I read the 3 and the 8 wrong, but he's not a $20 million receiver. Like, I like Dobbs. He was our leading receiver last year. Without Dobbs, we wouldn't have had the season we had, but he's not a $20 million receiver. He's just not.
No, and so that's why I'm like, hey, for any Packer fan who said, hey, we need to keep Dobbs, I think the price tag was just too steep. He played himself out of Green Bay. That's what happened.
Yeah.
And Green Bay
100%.
didn't have a lot of cap space, and there's other needs. So you can't take most of your cap space and put it on one guy and just say, okay, we need to bring this guy back. They've been able to bring several free agents back that Green Bay has needed. And that's
Yep.
And so using that money elsewhere, I've been okay with that.
Right. Another one for me, Malik Willis.
Yes.
Kudos to you, Malik. You earned every dollar that the Dolphins are paying you. He was great as a backup in Green Bay, rejuvenated his career. Unfortunately, it had to be to the Dolphins, and I don't think that team's going anywhere this year. But I mean, kudos to him for going out and getting that bag. Yeah, I mean, he got the money. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right. So, are you ready to jump into our next topic here? We can jump into our next topic of what we call our officials timeout. So, essentially, what this topic is since we both officiate and things like that, we're going to kind of show you maybe a play, kind of go over it a little bit and talk about maybe these are certain things that we could be potentially looking for when it comes to certain plays, like where would we be standing, what is the rule about this, or whatever. So
going into this, I just want to say this came about because Ace and I, so he refs football that I know of. I ref football and umpire baseball. And one thing that you get a lot of people, especially with this ABS garbage that's going on in the MLB, you get a lot of people that's like, oh, you get an umpire that calls a ball that's a strike. And the first day walking into training, when I started umpiring a couple of years ago, the first thing they tell you is there's 4 things you look for when you're behind the plate. And the 4th one of those is balls and strikes. So the first one is fair foul. The second one is catch, no catch. The third one is out or safe. And the 4th one is balls and strikes. So just to put everyone's mind at ease, there's three other things the umpire's looking for before he calls a ball on a strike. I just want everyone to know that.
Yeah, and so now that was covering the baseball side. Now, in the football side, understand as an official, there's a lot to cover. So, you're thinking about NFL style to where, they have, 8 different officials out there.
Yeah.
In high school, you typically have, 4 or 5 when it comes to various varsity games and JV games and things like that. So there's certain things that are hard to see, and there's a lot of calls that are judgment calls.
Sure.
So
And sorry, just to add on that for a second, Ace. You get 4 or 5 varsity. You're lucky if you have 4 to do a JV game.
right, yeah, exactly. So
You and I have showed up to a game before together, and we were the only 2 in the parking lot, and we're like, "What the hell are we gonna do?"
yeah, exactly. So here's a play, and this is what they were trying to say was a dirty late hit.
Okay,
So
let's watch it.
now he threw flag on that, so let me go ahead and back it up just a little bit. I'll back it up again. We can watch it again. All right. So let's clarify a few things here. Number 1, they typically say you get 2 steps before you hit the quarterback. You get 2 steps. Now, what else are you looking for? You're looking to see where else did the helmet go. Did
Right.
it go? Did it go in the helmet area? Did he hit him low? Did he hit him high? If it's shoulder contact and it's around the shoulder area and things like that, you wouldn't want to call a late hit, a roughing the passer, and things like that. So those are things that we're looking for. So on this one, if you really break it down, so he blitzes in and now releases the ball, bam. So you pause it right there. The ball's out. So in this case, as a white hat, essentially what you're doing as a white hat, as soon as he throws it, you're saying ball's out. You're telling them he threw the ball is out. And then you're counting how many steps. 1, 2, okay, boom. If he's already in the motion of hitting the quarterback, that's where it comes to that judgment call, to where it's like, okay, he was already in the motion. Can we call that a late hit? So in this case, if you're really looking at this and you're trying to blow it up, and I know it's kind of grainy, it's kind of fuzzy, you really can't see it here. But if you're really watching the video and you see close, do you see his helmet go helmet to helmet? In my judgment call, if I'm the white hat that's standing back there, I don't see helmet to helmet. I see shoulder, I see him lower his shoulder, and I see him bring it in.
100%. I'm with you. There, if someone threw a flag, I'm picking it up on this play. There's no late hit. There's no personal foul. There's no roughing the passer. He lowered his shoulder, hit him where you're supposed to. And the most important thing, one other thing, I know you were gonna touch on this, but I can take that part. The other thing I'm looking for, right, is did he follow through and put his body weight onto the quarterback? And he doesn't do that here either. He hits him and then stops. So you run the whole thing. The ball's out. He hits him where he's supposed to and does not land on top of him, which is another key component for roughing the passer or late hit. And he doesn't do any of that.
Yep. So you can count his steps. 1, 2, bam. You know that it's, and they're saying a dirty late hit. I'm sorry for that one. I would have to disagree. I don't think that's a dirty late hit at all. I don't. I just don't think it is. However, those are judgment calls. Those
Judgment
are
calls, 100%.
those can be extremely hard, because you do want to err on the side of caution to protect the quarterback. I get it. It's a quarter. It's always about protecting the quarterback. In this case, I just don't see it as a dirty or late hit.
Me neither. And the hardest thing about judgment calls is they are judgment calls. And the the thing as officials, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, ice hockey, it doesn't matter what it is. If we were officiating the same game here and you called a late hit, personal foul, roughing the passer, whatever, my job as another official is to not argue with you, but it's to be like, that's your call. And then when I go back to the sidelines, if I'm on the side and the coach said, why was that roughing the passer? Because that's what he saw and he was closer to the play than I was. That's my answer. I'm backing up my other official, and I'm not going back and talking behind him on his back.
Well, yeah, because the official that's going to make this call is the white hat anyways. The white hat is the one that's watching the quarterback. So right. In this case, the white hat, he is essentially the crew chief. That's what he is. So obviously, if the white hat makes the call, you're not going to say, "Oh, you're wrong. It's not." They have the view right there. But when we talk about a judgment call and you watch this play, if I'm back there, I may not throw it. But if you're back there, you might. And that's why we call it judgment plays. They're judgment calls. And you can't. So for me, it's so hard when you have, parents or coaches that are coming out and being like, that's a bogus call and blah blah. They're judgment calls. Officials are human. They're gonna mess up.
It's not even about messing up or making the call. You made a judgment call what you thought was the best judgment. Period. It does, and that doesn't matter the sport. Those happen in every sport you're gonna officiate. The difference for me, I have no problem, and I'll never talk to a parent because I don't really give a shit what a parent says. I don't care. You have no bearing in this game. I don't care. Exactly. I don't give a damn. Now, a coach can ask me a question that he needs a clarification on a rule of why that call was made. I got no problem explaining that to a coach because that's my job as an official. But when it's a judgment call and you're telling me that my call was wrong, I made the call. I'm not going to change it.
Yeah, and so that's why if it's questioned, a call like this, if it's questioned and coach says, "Hey, what's with the call?" We go, "Hey, coach, it's a judgment call."
Right.
And we move on. It's a judgment call. The call was made. It is what it is. It's a judgment call. And that's why we call them back. So this was kind of our first time of the officials timeout. It was a good video to start with. Next week, the plan is to find a baseball video so we can come in and break down a baseball video for you. So now jumping into our next topic, and I know J-Mac, you love this one. You love this one always. It is called the Wheel of Doom. So essentially how this works is we're going to bring up the wheel on the screen here. And when we bring up the wheel on the screen, what's going to happen is that we're going to end up with each division, and we spin the wheel and you end up with a team within that division. Whatever team you end up with in that division is the team you're stuck with for the duration of the season, and we keep track of points weekly. And so the goal is hopefully you don't land on a bottom tier team. I know J-Mac in the past has had some very, very bad luck when it comes to the Wheel of Doom. So that's why I said I know you're looking forward to this.
I wouldn't even say bad luck was the word. I would just say, like, I don't know, like the wheel broke it off in my ass, I think.
Right. Yeah. All right. So the 4 people that are, I should say, sorry, the 5 people that we have participating in the Wheel of Doom, we have Bree, we have Kyle, we have myself, we have Jason, and then we have Josh. So to start out with, we are going to start out with the NL the NL West here. So with the NL West, Bree will end up getting the first spin here. So let's see who Bree ends up getting as her team here on the Wheel of Doom. So Bree ends up with the Dodgers on the Wheel of Doom. So now that team is now officially removed. And the next one is going to be Kyle. So let's see what Kyle gets. Kyle is going to end up with the Diamondbacks. All right. Well, you're hanging. You're hanging in there, Jim. I know you still see. The Rockies. You still see the Rockies there. All right. This one will come to me this time.
Come on, a little more.
All right, Padres. I will end up with the Padres. All right, J-Mac. This is you.
Yeah, of course it is.
Oh, look at that.
A little more if there's a God. Damn. I'll take it.
And then Josh ends up with the Rockies. Okay, so you know what? So J-Mac, going with our first division there, what's your overall thoughts with the first round there?
I'm just glad it wasn't the Rockies. I'm good. We can move on.
You're glad it wasn't the Rockies. Okay, so our next division, we're gonna actually we're gonna go into the NL East, and I know, and I can tell you, I know what team you want. We all know what team that you are hoping you get. So I am now just prepping the wheel. I'm getting it ready. Now I'm going to pull it up here. All right. So this time we go the opposite direction that we did last time. So what that means is, since Bree started this last time, Josh will get the first wheel spin this time. So the first wheel spin is going to be the Phillies. Okay.
Let's get the Phillies. All right.
You know what though? For him though, that might be a good thing, since he ended up with the Rockies on the last one.
Yeah, that's a solid spin after getting the Rockies.
All right, J-Mac, this is you this time. So let's see who J-Mac ends up with this time. You got to be kidding me.
I was like, if it's the Mets, I'm going to hang myself.
Look at that. Well, that sucks, because that means I know I'm not getting the Braves now. All right, this is my spin, and the Wheel of Doom better not get me on this one. Ah, crap. Well, all right. Next spin is going to be Kyle. So, and Kyle's going to end up with the Mets. And then that means Bree is going to end up with the Marlins. You know what? She got the Dodgers in the first one, so
I don't feel bad.
So you don't feel bad now. Don't feel too bad now, because she ended up with Dodgers in the first one. So with this one, we definitely go with the NL Central. So J-Mac, if there's a team that you are hoping to land in the Central, what team do you want, and what team are you really trying to avoid?
Oh man. I don't know if there's a team per se that I want. over any other team in the Central. I think the Central is a tough division. But I probably don't want the Cardinals. Cardinals are going to be they're going to be dog water this year. So I really don't want the Cardinals.
So, yeah, you know what's funny is when you look at that, a lot of people you usually say that they wouldn't want the Pirates. However, I'm saying like they might be one of those. I'm not gonna say they're gonna be great, but they could be one of those sneaky teams
For sure.
that it's like, okay, so you may not be too mad about getting them. So with this one, now this time we start again in the opposite direction. So with this one, Bree will now get the first spin on this one. So let's see where Bree lands. Bree is going to get the Cubs.
I don't think that's a bad pick. I mean, it's going to be a 4-team race for the division, so.
Yep, okay. So then our next one is going to be Kyle.
Kyle?
Yep, so let's see who Kyle ends up with on this one. Kyle is going to end up with the Reds.
With the Reds. All right.
That's not bad. Okay. All right, so then who do we have? Oh, and then now it's me.
Cardinals.
What? You mean Trojan?
Brewers. Brewers. All right, not bad. I'll take it. All right, J-Mac, this is you.
All right.
All right, let's see what you get, J-Mac.
Son of a bitch.
Cardinals. The one team that I know you said you didn't really, really want, but you know what? You got them. And then Josh will end up with the Pirates. So, J-Mac, are you happy? Are you happier with that round right there?
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I only got one bottom dweller, so we'll be all right.
All right, you got one bottom dweller there. All right. So let me get Yeah, all right. So let me get the wheel ready here. Sorry, I had to plug in my charger here. We're starting to go dead. Let's go with this one. We're going to go ahead and go with the AL East. So, AL East, J-Mac, which team are you wanting to avoid here?
I don't really like any team in the AL East.
It's
hard to say. Honestly, this is going to be a tough division. I don't think there's one team I can pick out that's really like way below the other teams. So I think there's one team that stands above the rest of them, which is the Blue Jays. But I think everyone else is going to be fighting for a wild card spot if everything goes right for their season. So,
well, I think if we mentioned, I think the Rays were that one team that we said could be towards the bottom of the East.
Yeah.
So this time we got to go backwards again. So because we are going backwards with this one, that means Josh gets the very first spin on this one. So let's see what we have here. So Josh is going to get the Red Sox. So I need to mark that little down there. So, all right, Josh gets the Red Sox. All right, J-Mac, this is you. So I don't think you can really go wrong on any of these spins, really, except maybe the Rays. But look at that! Look at that!
I'll take it. They were my preseason power ranking number 1, so I'll take it.
All right, you will take that one. All right, this one comes to me, which has not been too kind to me so far. All right, well, I guess that luck, that bad mojo, has now skipped over to me this year so far. Can't figure out why. All right, let's see what Kyle ends up with here. Orioles.
Orioles, not bad.
Not bad on that one. You know, if I'm Kyle, I am actually pretty happy with that one.
Yep.
Um, I know they weren't like all that good last year, but this year's going to be a complete difference for it.
Yeah, they got a lot of pieces in the offseason. They're gonna be solid.
They the Orioles this season in the AL, I feel like can be the Pirates of the NL.
For sure. And the best part for the Orioles is we only have to see Pete Alonso for 3 games this year, not 14.
Yes, I know. Like that to me, I always hated facing Pete Alonso. Every time I'm like, all right, how many home runs is this guy gonna hit off of us now? Like it was
Yep.
freaking crazy. How about this one? We go with the AL Central. So the AL Central is like one of those divisions that you really don't know how it's going to go. But if you really, really wanted 2 teams within this division, you definitely want the Tigers or you want the Royals.
I agree.
You want to stay away. You want to stay away from the White Sox, our Guardians, and definitely the Twins. So here we go. This time, Bree gets to start out. So Bree gets the very first spin on this one. So let's see who Bree is going to get with her first one. So White Sox are
Oh,
off the board. And I know, J-Mac, that's got to make you happy.
yeah, it does.
Because
Without question.
there's one bad team now off the board. So now we go into Kyle. And Kyle is going to end up with the Twins.
Take the other bad team off the board.
All right. All right, now I will take this spin. Give me something good, because right now my teams are lacking.
In the Guardians. No, Guardians are, they'll be right there. They always are.
Yeah,
Be
but
right.
yeah, but I don't think they're going to be the Tigers or Royals. All right. All right. J-Mac, this is you. And Royals. And then Josh is going to get the Tigers. All right. So, are you happy with your pick there?
Yeah, Royals will be fine. They'll be right in it by the end of the year.
I do, however, feel like the team to beat there is going to be the Tigers, because we did our power rankings and we both had the Tigers at high in the power rankings. But now this next division, you obviously want the Mariners in this division. Sorry, my dog is on the cord here, so it's not really helping.
Is it the fat dog or?
Yep, it's the big one. All right, so for you, who do you feel like is the team that you want to avoid with this one?
Is it a question? You don't want the Angels in this division.
Just so people understand what team you're trying to avoid, so people can see you end up with that team. So with this one, Josh actually goes first on this one. So Josh ends up with the Astros. Okay. J-Mac, this next one is going to be for you. And whoops, I spelled it wrong. But you ended up with the Angels.
Oh well.
Oh, oh well.
Oh well.
All right. I'll take the next one.
We get the A's, the upstart A's. They're gonna be solid this year. That's a good pick.
I will take that. I will definitely take that one. All right, let's go with Kyle now is going to get the Mariners. And then that means Bree is with the Rangers. All right. That actually completes our Wheel of Doom to start out with. So we have Bree's team, which is going to be Dodgers, Marlins, Cubs, Yankees, White Sox, and Rangers. You have Kyle's team, who is the Diamondbacks, Mets, Reds, Orioles, Twins, and Mariners. My teams are the Padres, the Nationals, Brewers, Rays, Guardians, and A's. J-Mac, your teams are the Giants, Braves, Cardinals, Blue Jays, Royals, and Angels. And then you have Josh's teams, the Rockies, Phillies, Pirates, Red Sox, Tigers, and Astros.
Really, I think everyone did pretty well. I mean, everyone got a couple of shit teams, but everyone kind of it's going to be a solid season.
I feel it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm so glad that we finally got to do the Wheel of Doom. So for anybody who's going to be keeping track on the Wheel of Doom here, we will be, when the season starts, we will be placing the weekly standings up here so everybody can see what the weekly standings are. Going into our next one. So J-Mac, we're running low on time, but that's okay. We can still talk a little bit about it. The World Baseball Classic, what do you got for us?
World Baseball Classic, it's like the Olympics of baseball, even though the Olympics are coming back, or the baseball's coming back to the Olympics in 2028. That'll be exciting as well. But the World Baseball Classic is one of those, it's just pride. You get to go out and play for your country. You get to see all these teams, the teammates face each other, and then guys that would normally play on a team together. So some really good teams. The Dominican team is always good. They were undefeated in their pool play. Mexico's always good. They lost to U.S. yesterday. U.S. is always good. Last I saw, U.S. was losing to Italy, actually 5-0 tonight. And Italy is the surprise team. They were undefeated coming into that game against the U.S. They're big. They have a couple of MLB players on their team. The big one is Pasquantino from the Royals, who as we all know, hit 36 homers last year. He's the upstart on that team. So it's going to be good. It's going to come down to the end. It's going to come down to 4 teams. And the U.S. is going for gold, and I don't blame them. But I pick Italy. I think Italy is going to be the team to beat. Can't hear you.
Yep, that was me. I was on mute. I was going to actually ask you a question about the World Baseball Classic. So people have kind of been making a big deal when players walk off the team or walk off the field during the World Baseball Classic because their actual team has a preseason game, especially if you're, a pitcher. And
so everyone's talking about Tarek Skubal, right?
Yes, everyone's talking about Skubal, and they're talking about how it was wrong of Skubal to walk off the field in the middle of pitching to go because his team had a spring training game. And I'm like, well, he wants to be with his team, though. Like, I don't see a problem with it.
Well, I hate to tell you, but the world is the way the world is, and what people the I could go into the backside of all of the World Baseball Classic. The fact that it happens during spring training is really hard for teams, and there were players that couldn't play this year because they have to go out and get an insurance policy on those players if they're going to play in the World Baseball Classic, and then there is certain stipulations they have to follow. Tarek Skubal was only insured and only able to pitch one game and 55 pitches. That was it. That was all his insurance policy was for. So he can't go past those numbers, because if he does, then he goes into voiding contracts as far as major league stuff, and then that's fines for him and the World Baseball Classic. So it's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that happens, but that's essentially what it is. So yeah, as crappy as it is when that happens, they have to follow the rules that are set forth for them before they go into the World Baseball Classic. So
yeah, but I don't think a lot of people realize how it works. So
no.
so then they start getting upset over things that they don't completely understand.
Right. Absolutely. The interesting part will be in 2028 when the Olympics happen right in the middle of the major league season. So we'll see how that goes.
All right. Did you have anything else that you wanted to throw out there currently?
No, just think the World Baseball Classic is something everyone should watch, and it's always fun. It's always fun. Speaking from our end, being Atlanta fans, actually, Ozzy Albies hit the first walk-off in the history of the World Baseball Classic the other night for the Netherlands, and that was pretty awesome. So,
gotta love Ozzy. Gotta love Acuna. You know, Acuna just looks like he's having so much fun.
And that's what it is for these guys, right? Like everyone thinks they're not getting paid to be in the World Baseball Classic. These guys are not getting paid. I'm sure there's some kind of endorsement deal for when they're with their home countries, and I'm sure there's some kind of deal. But as far as salaries, like, no one's getting paid to do this, and so it's all about pride and going out and having fun and playing baseball for your country. So.
Yeah, and I know we've talked about it before too. Doing this stuff, it should be for the love of the game. And in the World
100%.
Baseball Classic, that's what it is. It's for the love of the game. You're going out there, you're representing your country, which I think is fantastic. You're not really asking for anything. You're going out there and you're having fun.
Yeah, 100%.
And that to me shows me a lot, because I think what really gets overlooked is people talk about how there are like so many people who want money, which I'm not saying is not true. Like a lot of the athletes are out there just wanting money. That's what it is. But for the World Baseball Classic, you don't get paid for it. So that's why I think it's such a good thing, because it's showing you how much the people are actually indeed having fun. So going into our final topic of the night here, it is what we call the medal count. So it is the updated. And I know you date that medal count here of what we have here. So, J-Mac, when we have this medal tracker, Norway right now is actually leading the way with 41, and the United States is behind with 33. What is your overall thoughts?
Pretty much what I expected. I mean, Norway is right by the Alps. Like, what do they have to do? They ski. It's all Winter Olympic stuff. The women for the U.S. definitely outshining the men, and that's a normal thing in the Olympics. And kudos to them. The ice hockey taking gold for men and women for the U.S. That's awesome. Congrats to both teams. They deserved that. They earned it. So I think the U.S. is right where I thought they would be, second place. And so
Yeah.
another thing that's worth watching, like you're doing it to get the medals, and you got endorsement deals, but again, you're out there competing for your country and for the pride of your country, and there's nothing better than that.
So, and then to round out the top 5, we have Italy with 30, and then we have Germany with 26, and then Japan with 24. So those are going to round out your top 5. Norway is leading the way with 18 gold medals. You have the United States with 12 gold medals, and then you have Italy sitting at 10 gold medals, and then Germany at 8, and then Japan at 5. So Norway is dominating a little bit with the gold medals.
Yeah.
But Norway and the USA are usually the two teams near the top of the medal counts anyways.
100%. And in Winter Olympics, it's always that way.
So if anybody gets a chance, go ahead and watch the Winter Olympics. You will be amazed of how talented some of these Olympians are. And I know, J-Mac, when we talk about the Winter Olympics, I have mentioned before, like, some things that are difficult for me to watch. Like, the only thing I really can't get into is the figure skating part of it. That's the only part that
Sure, I get it.
That struggles me.
Hey, and I'm going to tell you something. I used to not understand curling. I was like, what are they doing? What are they doing? Putting a coffee pot down the middle of the ice and then brushing brooms in front of it. But I will tell you, curling, I have grown to love curling. I don't know why. I just it's entertaining. It's like shuffleboard on ice. That is what curling is. But it's really entertaining.
Yeah, it's like you said, when you watch it at first, it's like it's something that might be a little bit hard to understand, but once you start watching it, you're like, yeah, this is actually pretty fun. Now, usually when curling happens, I try not to miss a match when the USA is on, because it's so fun to watch. Since it happens, since the Winter Olympics, or it's usually on, all during the day. It's hard to watch everything because being at work and things like that. But there's a lot of things I'll try and go back and watch, because the Winter Olympics is it's so fun to watch.
It is really fun to watch.
So J-Mac, with that being said, we're at the hour 3 mark now. Any final thoughts for you?
Final thoughts: baseball season coming March 25th is opening day. We'll have another show before then, or a show or two. But that's an exciting time always. NFL free agency, the draft will be next month. Just lots of great stuff coming. March Madness is going to start in a week. Can't wait for that. So yeah, just exciting stuff coming up. It's great. It's a great time to be a sports fan. That's for sure.
Definitely. So we do want to thank everybody for watching. It's been another fun episode. It's been only our second episode since coming back, but we're going to have a lot more exciting topics. So overall, with Sports Minute, you're going to see all random topics from almost all different sports. So we're not just here to talk football, baseball. We talk football, baseball, we talk basketball. You saw tonight, we talk Olympics. We talk a little bit of everything. So with that, we hope everybody had a great night. You can feel free to comment on the shows. We will comment you back. So with that, everybody have a fantastic night, and we will see you next week for another episode.